Namaste, dear learners, and welcome to the English Grammar Mastery course. My name is Sai Sarath, and in this lesson, you are going to learn about sentences and different parts of sentences. Learning how to write and speak good sentences is the key to your success as a powerful English communicator. And this lesson will help you avoid the grammatical mistakes to make your speech and writing more interesting. Before we start, just remember that if you have any questions at all, you can ask me those in the Q&A section or email me, and I will get back to you personally as soon as possible. So without any delay, let us begin our lesson. Since we are talking about sentences, first let us understand what a sentence means. When we speak or write, we use words to convey our thoughts, and when group of such words are used together in such a manner that it makes complete sense, then it is referred as a sentence. A sentence is the largest unit of any language, and in English language, it begins with a capital letter and ends with a full stop or a question mark or an exclamation mark. When we make a sentence, we name some person, place or thing, and then we say something about that person, place or thing. In other words, we must have a subject to speak about, and we must say or predicate something about that subject. Hence, every sentence has two main parts. The part which names the person, place or thing that we are speaking about is called subject of the sentence. The part which tells something about the subject is called predicate of the sentence. Consider this sentence. The bus has arrived. Here, we are speaking about the bus. So the bus is the subject and has arrived is telling us something about the subject. So has arrived is the predicate. The subject of a sentence usually comes first, but occasionally it is also put after the predicate. For example, in the sentence, here comes the bus. The bus is the subject we are talking about, and here comes is the predicate. The subject refers to the part of sentence that tells who or what the sentence is about. So to find the subject of a sentence, we can ask who or what in front of the verb. For example, in the sentence, the bus has arrived, we can ask the question, what has arrived? And the answer to that question is your subject. Subject can be of three types: simple subject, compound subject, and complete subject. The part of sentence that is doing something or that is being talked about is a simple subject. For example, in the sentence, Rahul rode his bicycle, Rahul is a simple subject because he is doing an action. When there are two or more such simple subjects in a sentence, we call them compound subject. For example, in the sentence, nuts and paneer are good sources of protein. Both nuts and paneer are simple subjects individually as they are being talked about, but together they are called compound subject. Lastly, the complete subject includes the simple subject with all the words that describe it. For example, in the sentence, the black dog barked at the cat. Here, the black dog is a complete subject. As we discussed earlier about predicate, a predicate defines what is being done by the subject. It may consist of a verb, complements, modifiers, or objects. Don't worry, we will learn what these terms mean later in this class. In simple words, a predicate is a part of sentence which consists of everything except the subject. To identify the predicate, we can ask the question, what is the subject being or what is the subject doing? For example, in the sentence, Rahul is riding his bicycle. To find the predicate, ask the question, what is Rahul doing? And the answer to that question will give you your predicate. Predicate can be of three types: simple predicate, compound predicate, and complete predicate. The simple predicate contains only the verb and a helping verb. For example, in the sentence, Rohan is walking is a simple predicate, where is the helping verb and walking is the main verb. When two or more such simple verbs are present in a sentence, it is called compound predicate. The verbs share the same subject and are joined by a conjunction. For example, in the sentence, the dog barked and howled. There are two verbs, barked, howled, and they are separated by the conjunction and. So the compound predicate in this sentence is barked and howled. Complete predicate includes a simple verb with all the words that describe it. In other words, everything in a sentence other than the subject is a part of complete predicate. For example, in the sentence, the black dog barked fiercely at the cat. Barked fiercely at the cat is the complete predicate. Now that you know the two main parts of sentence, subject and predicate, let us take a look at other optional parts of the sentence. Generally, a complete sentence may contain subject and predicate, which are the two main parts of sentence that we already learned. And there are other optional parts like objects, phrases, clauses, and complement. Let us look into each of them individually, starting with the object. In general, in a sentence, the person or thing that receives the action is called the object. Like in the sentence, Mohan has bought the painting. Mohan is the subject, has bought is the verb, and painting is the object, since it is receiving the action bought. In other words, it is answering the question, what has Mohan bought? In truth, there are two types of objects, direct object and indirect object. The direct object receives the action of the verb, and the indirect object tells us to whom or for whom the action is done for. For example, in the sentence, I am writing my grandmother a letter. A letter is the direct object, since it is directly receiving the action verb writing. And my grandmother is the indirect object, since it tells us for whom the action is done. The next part of sentence is a phrase. A phrase is a group of words that does not express a complete thought. It may lack a subject or a verb or both. For example, take a look at this sentence. While resting on the beach. This phrase lacks a subject. Who is resting is not mentioned. This phrase also lacks a complete idea. What happened while resting on the beach is also not given. Take a look at another example. Running through the park. In this example, we have a phrase that consists of group of words, but it does not express a complete thought. This phrase is incomplete because it lacks a subject and it also lacks a complete idea. Now let us learn about the next part of sentence, clause. A clause is a group of related words containing both a subject and a predicate. They allow us to combine ideas, express relationship between ideas, and provide additional context or information. There are two main types of clauses, independent clause and dependent clause. An independent clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb and express a complete idea. For example, Vivek likes to swim, but Priya prefers to jog. In this sentence, there are two independent clauses. Vivek likes to swim and Priya prefers to jog. In Vivek likes to swim, the subject is Vivek and the verb is likes. This clause expresses a complete idea that Vivek enjoys swimming. In Priya prefers to jog, the subject is Priya and the verb is prefers. This clause expresses the complete idea that Priya likes jogging more than swimming. These two independent clauses are connected by the coordinating conjunction but, which shows a contrast between the two ideas. Let us take a look at another example. Raghu played his new video game until midnight. In this sentence, there is one independent clause. Raghu played his new video game. Here, the subject is Raghu and the verb is played. This clause expresses the complete idea that Raghu was engaged in playing his new video game. The phrase until midnight is not an independent clause, as it does not express a complete idea on its own. It provides additional information about the time frame of Raghu's activity. A dependent clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb but does not express a complete thought. A dependent clause is not a complete sentence. For example, although Vivek likes to swim, Priya prefers to jog. In this sentence, there is one dependent clause and one independent clause. Although Vivek likes to swim is a dependent clause. Here, Vivek is the subject, likes is the verb. However, the clause does not express a complete idea on its own, as it is introduced by the subordinating conjunction although, which indicates a contrast. Priya prefers to jog is an independent clause. Here, Priya is a subject and prefers is the verb. This clause expresses a complete idea and can stand on its own as a sentence. The dependent clause is connected to the independent clause to create a complex sentence, showing a contrast between Vivek's and Priya's preferences. Let us take another example. When Raghu played his video game until midnight. In this sentence, there is one dependent clause. When Raghu played his video game until midnight is a dependent clause. Here, Raghu is the subject and played is the verb. Although it contains a subject and a verb, this clause does not express a complete idea on its own, as it is introduced by the subordinating conjunction when, which indicates a time reference. The dependent clause is incomplete and needs an independent clause to form a complete, coherent sentence. For example, when Raghu played his video game until midnight, he lost track of time. Now let us learn about the next part of sentence, complement. Complements are words or group of words that complete the meaning of a subject, verb, or object in a sentence. They provide additional information that is necessary for a complete understanding of the sentence. Complements help make sentences more precise, descriptive, and clear. There are two main types of complements: subject complement and object complement. A subject complement is a word or group of words that follows a linking verb and either describes or identifies the subject. Let's look at some examples to understand subject complements better. She is a teacher. In this sentence, a teacher is the subject complement, as it identifies what she is. The sky became dark. Here, dark is the subject complement, as it describes the sky after the change. He feels happy. In this case, happy is the subject complement as it describes his state of being. Another type of complement is object complement. An object complement is a word or group of words that follows and describes or identifies the direct object. The object complement helps provide more information about the direct object, making the sentence more informative and complete. We will now examine some examples to gain a better understanding of object complements. Take a look at this sentence. They elected her president. In this sentence, president is the object complement as it identifies the role she was elected to. She considers the cake delicious. Here, delicious is the object complement as it describes the cake based on her opinion. The teacher found the assignment incomplete. In this case, incomplete is the object complement as it describes the state of assignment. Okay, so that brings an end to the topic parts of sentences. Let us quickly revise what we have learnt in this lesson. First of all, we understood what sentences are. Then we learnt about the different parts of sentence like subject, predicate, direct object, indirect object, phrases, clauses, and complements. Now that we have learned about the different parts of sentence, let's put your understanding to the test with these practice exercise. Here are 5 sentences for you. For each of the following sentence, identify the subject, predicate, and any direct objects, indirect objects, phrases or clauses present. You can pause the video here and try to answer them. You can get the answers in the material given below. So that brings an end to the topic parts of sentence. Understanding the various parts of sentence is essential for effective communication and mastery of English language. Remember to continue practicing and seeking out resources or suggestions for improvement. So that's it for this lesson. I'll see you in the next lesson. Keep up the good work. Thank you and happy learning.